Hello everyone, and welcome back to Hang In There. Today, we're switching things up a bit from our usual routine. Don't worry, we will still be touching on the topics that matter most to us. But this episode is special. It marks our very first guest, and not just any guest. She's multi-talented, endlessly inspiring, and let's be real, just plain hilarious. She's a powerhouse performer, a fearless storyteller, and a proud Italian-American with enough personality to light up an entire stage, and maybe a small village. You may know her as the heart behind The Italian Chicks, the voice behind Painted from Memory, or the creator of Agita, the one-woman show that has audiences laughing and crying, sometimes at the same time. I love her because she has this incredible gift of taking serious, sometimes heavy topics and turning them into something completely relatable, honest, and at times irresistibly funny. Whether she's on stage, in the studio, or telling stories that stick with you long after, she brings heart, humor, and so much humanity to everything she does. She's a singer, songwriter, comedian, and playwright, and now the 2025 Best Artist in Stage, Film, and Screenplay winner at this year's Indie Golden Globe Summer Edition. So yeah, no big deal. Please welcome the one and only Maryann Maisano.
Wow, Melissa, that was beautiful. I want to take you with me wherever I go.
We're so happy to have you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I really appreciate this. I was so looking forward to it.
Me too. It's been just a joy to get to know you. And I know you have a very big couple of months coming up, so I really appreciate you joining us. Could you please explain what you have brewing?
Well, right now I'm in the midst of madness, which is what usually always happens. About a year ago, when I was on tour in Florida, I came up with a concept to write an off-Broadway play. And the name of the play struck me because I figured it touched on basically every demographic, right? Yeah. So the name of the play is A Lesbian, a Divorcee, and a Married Woman Walk into a Bar. The rest is a musical comedy. And so that is going to be premiering off-Broadway at the Triad Theater September 20th, 2 p.m. matinee. And I'm really excited about it. I have an amazing cast. They're friends of mine. They're talented beyond compare. And I'm so looking forward to getting this play out there.
I'm so excited for you. It sounds amazing. What an accomplishment. Fun. Another accomplishment for you.
Thank you. Well, I feel that it's always nice to have, like, people say to me, well, make sure, you're having a good time. And I'm like, don't you understand what I do makes me have a good time?
Yeah, I know. And that's what's so inspiring about you too. I just love that. You went after what made you feel fulfilled and you did it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it didn't have its challenges or its moments, or I had to walk away from a lot of money from a six-figure corporate finance job and downsize a lot of things. I have champagne taste on a beggar's budget, so so I still walk into a store and go to find the most expensive thing. It's the weirdest thing, but for me, this is what makes me happy, and this is what brings me joy. And when people say to me, "Oh, I hope you're not letting life pass you by," I'm like, "Are you crazy? This is what life is all about,
Exactly. Taking risks and finding what makes you happy, and it's not about money." Yes.
No, it's not. It's really not. And people say, "Oh, well, that's easy," but no, it really isn't. Because if you had to change your life. Mm-hmm. And you wound up finding something that gave you more fulfillment than the money, you would see what that felt like. You would understand.
Yep, I agree 100%. And I think that relates to a lot of different things in life as well.
Yeah.
For me, just leaving everything, I left with nothing really. Just to have my life back.
Right.
And this can apply to so many people. Just, it's your life. You get one.
Right, absolutely.
Do what makes you happy. And that's what makes people, that's what draws people in, is that you can feel that and you can see that it's what you love.
Yes. And how empowering was that for you? Think about it,
Right.
I mean, that had to lift you up beyond compare.
And it's scary. It's scary for all of us. It was scary for you, I'm sure. It's a really big
Oh my
leap.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, walking away from a lot of money, being the only child in my family that was rolling in the chip, so to speak, And, I had a mom who wasn't well, and I was so afraid that she was going to be like, oh my God, how could you do this?
Right.
And it was funny because when I did resign my job, I never told my mom, and she was my biggest fan, really. And what I did was I pretended I went to work. I'm a grown-up now, remember, okay? I pretended I'd go to work, and I'd come home, at the regular time when I'd come home, and I'd call her because I would call her every day when I got home. And she'd say, hi, babe, how was your day? Oh, it was crazy. It was busy. So, Mom, what'd you do today? And I'd do that whole thing, right? And it turns out we wound up doing this big Italian festival in Hoboken, in, of all places, Frank Sinatra Village. Oh, please. I mean, my God, let's get more tacky. Okay. So now this was this big shindig. I didn't know. And they had press there and newspapers. And so the next day they had this huge article, 2-page article in the paper. And I'm like, wow, we're all getting papers. Right. And I call my mom, and I forgot my mom always read that paper. So when I called her, when you could tell somebody like swallowed a canary and they're not saying anything,
Yes.
And she was like, hi, babe. And I go, hi, Mom. How you doing? She goes, so what's going on? And I go, not much. She goes, anything new?
Yeah.
And and she goes, babe, Mommy. She always talked about herself in the third person. It was so funny. She would never say, she would say, babe, Mommy saw you. Mommy saw you in the newspaper. And now I was like, oh my God, my eyes were like meatballs, wide open. And I'm like going, oh Jesus, what, like, is she going to say like, how could you do that? And she said to me, and you know what? You're my baby and you can do anything you want to do.
I love that. I love
and
that.
I was like, yeah, it was the best because, that was the blessing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And coming from your mother, it's amazing how people sometimes underestimate the love and are just afraid to open up to people that are closest to them because they're just afraid and they just underestimate the love that's there. And that's
agree
just
with
beautiful. You. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. People miss out on a lot when they do that, I
would like to move a little bit further into your personal creative journey because you've had such a unique path. In Ajita, you explain how you won your first guitar on your 12th birthday, how you couldn't stop playing it. You mentioned House of the Rising Sun.
Yes.
Do you think that guitar was what sparked your love for storytelling and comedy and music?
I want to say yes and no, and I'll tell you why. Because my brother was the oldest. I was the youngest in my family. And, he thought he was Elvis, gargled with Brute and wore gold chains. And he had a guitar. And I was never, ever allowed to touch it. And whenever he was at work, I would sneak in and go grab this guitar. I don't know how to play it, but, I was just so afraid that he would come home and see me touching it. So when I won the guitar down the shore, it was like retribution. I was like, see, I don't need you now.
He was taunting you.
Yes. And it was so funny because when I had my pick of the sand, he said to me, I said, I want the guitar. And he goes, you don't have to play, get the TV. And I go, I don't want the TV, I want the guitar, It's like, I'll learn. So for me, I think it, because when I was 5 years old, this is what happens in my family. Being first generation, we had, cousins from Italy all over the place. And every Sunday was like the biggest feast imaginable. And it was not just with your immediate family. It was with all the cousins and the aunts and the uncles and, and my mother be cooking for like the day before. And wow. I never forget, while she was making dessert and I was 5 years old, she would say to me, Maryann, go inside and sing for everybody while Mommy makes the coffee. And I would just jump on a chair and sing like Frankie Valli songs. I don't know what I was doing. I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
But all I know is that people applauded.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that, I said, oh, I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it stuck in my mind. So, like school was never a thing for me. It's really weird. I never connected. I was smart as a whip, but I never connected because all I wanted to do was what was in my heart. Here's the interesting thing. It's like people always say, it's finding your passion is so hard and all that. But, it's really not, because you shouldn't be looking for your passion. It comes to you automatically.
True.
You know what I mean? If you have to look for it, it's like, oh, I found my passion today. But it should be innate. It should be inside of your body, something that needs to be ignited,
And then when it is ignited, exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Then that's when all the stuff comes out, And for me, being the youngest of four, and, my dad, God rest his soul, Mr. Infidelity, cheated on my mom most of their marriage. But it's what it was back in the day. They were older Italian people, and nobody ever left their husband back then, and he didn't hit her. He wasn't mean. He provided. But this was just inherent, I think, in his culture. I don't know.
It's interesting. Yes, I agree. And the role of women back then was completely different across the board, all over.
Yeah, but I will say my mom was the master of that house. She ran it, and she told him what to do, and he just listened. and she really took control of everything. But it was very difficult for me to watch and observe that, because being 6 years old and having all my siblings out of the house, then I had to sit down and say, because we would catch him, like her friends would call her and say, oh, your husband, because he owned a cab company, right? Mm-hmm. So if they would say, oh, your husband's at the end of the street, and she'd whip me off the couch by one arm, throw me in the back of the Cadillac, and that is like, where the hell are we going? And we would catch, she would catch him with this woman, and a big scene would ensue and all this stuff. And then, I feel really bad, because then she'd wind up hyperventilating and pass out.
Oh, man.
And I thought she died.
Yeah.
So I'd be running to doorbells going, please help, my mom died. And then the ambulance would come and people. So needless to say, every time she caught him, this is what she said. I swear, I'm not trying to be facetious, but this is what she would say. She'd come home. He wouldn't talk. She wouldn't talk for 3 days. Every third day, on the third day, she would say, Joe, come and eat. Yeah. And then I would stand there and look at it like I was watching a play, and I would say to myself, did he apologize?
Right.
Why is she cooking for him? It was all confusing to me, because I couldn't understand all of that passion. And then all of a sudden, okay, all is well, come and eat now.
I love that. Yeah, all is well. You mentioned that. And it's true. It's true, because women especially just turned a blind eye. And they were either feeling trapped, or that was just what was expected of them at that time.
Exactly. So, for me, that also skewed my perception of love as an adult.
Absolutely. Is this what love was all about?
As a child. And then when I got older, and I happen to be a lesbian woman, and it has nothing to do, because people go, oh, well, your father cheated. No, let's not get Freudian here, okay? That's not, I knew I was a gay woman when I was 5 years old. Yeah. I didn't know what it was, but I knew something was up, okay? Because every time my sister brought home her friend who was a majorette, she would walk in the room and I would hear angels. They'd be like, oh. And then my sister would say to my mother, Mom, get the baby out of here. I want to my friends here. And it was just a weird thing. I didn't know what it was. But it wasn't because of my father. It was something inherent in me.
Right.
And then to watch all these things go on, I guess, having such a colorful family and the good and bad of it. There's colorful good and there's colorful bad, like seeing your dad cheating on your mom, and that's colorful bad. And then, the stories and the stuff from Italy and all those things like that were so beautiful and fun that you merged it all together. And for me, what I did, I guess I felt what I did, was anytime I felt trapped or scared or insecure about something, I would always grab my guitar.
Yeah.
Now, whether I just sat in my room or sat on the steps or took it down the street or whatever, and I would play. It didn't mean I had to write a song. If I got lucky and did, fine. But it was, to me, it was like the guitar was the thing that saved me because it was always there in my life. It never hurt me.
Right.
It never ran away from me. I could always depend on it. And that's really the recipe for a relationship.
That's incredible. I remember you spoke a lot about, with regards to your family and everything, how the pressure to keep up the appearances was, you called it figura.
Yeah, figura.
Yes.
Right.
You talked about what that meant to you as a young girl as well, growing up with that. And I can attest to those unspoken rules or expectations, and you don't want to talk about it, and you sweep things under the rug, but you want to, you want everybody to think that everything is great and
fine. That's why I was like, all is well.
Exactly.
Everything's okay. And it's funny because I was very different than the rest of my family, simply because my sisters were way older than me, like 10 years older. So I was the bump in the night baby. So I was a different generation to begin with. So I wasn't like, my father was very, very Italian. My mom was born in Italy, but she came here when she was younger. So she was like a baby. So she was more Americanized thinking, so to speak,
Sure.
Where my father still was in the old school head. Yeah. And I'll never forget sitting on the couch and having my father say to me, Maryann, where that come from? There's only one man, that's it. You understand? So you go out, you meet somebody, you got to marry them. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm 12.
Yeah. What
an
expectation.
Yeah, like, what am I going to do? And then, of course, if you walked out, then when you got older, if you walked out of the house and you had on a low-cut shirt, and then it'd be like, what do you people, like, that's what I said. Fagota means in Italian to save face, right? And he would say, what do you do walk out of the house like that? What do you? And it was like, wait a minute, what are you doing with other women? That's okay.
Right. The rules are different for you.
Right. That's what I mean. And sometimes I think, my older sister was in an abusive marriage, and she's no longer with us because of that marriage. But I really think sometimes, and I could be wrong, but, my father was so old school. Now, my brother would go after this guy all the time. I went after this guy. I can't tell you how many times. Wow. Threw him down a flight of stairs and all this stuff. Wow. But it was like my father never did anything. He would just bring like bread over on Sunday and leave it at my sister's doorstep. Because I think in his mind, even though my older sister was his apple of his eye, I think he felt that no matter what, you had to be with your husband.
It was ingrained. Isn't that
interesting? Yeah, it was an old school thing, right?
I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
I mean, it's just heartbreaking, and it's so important that we talk about these things. And I really am grateful for you coming on and just sharing this. And I know how difficult that is for you.
Definitely. I mean, the world needs to speak about it. Look what's happening. And I'm not trying to be political, but women are being pushed down every day.
Absolutely. That's what started our conversation, was your post about P. Diddy. And I loved how you called to women. Come on, women. Come on, guys. Right? Yes. It spoke to me. I just finished writing Turn the Tables. It was about women. It was just such good timing. You could not speak about this and continue with your work.
Right.
And nobody would know. But how is anything going to change if we don't break the silence around this? I mean, this is impacting not only survivors and victims, but families and friends. And how can we help each other? How can we back each other up and empower each other? And we can't do that by being quiet. We can't do that by pretending and sweeping it under the rug. And bless your dad, and maybe he didn't have the skills to deal with it.
Totally.
Right. And same with my grandparents, weren't taught how to deal with these things, but we are taught this now, and we need to use these skills. I have found my place with this because
God bless. Yes. Good for you.
I'm really trying to just empower people, give them hope, and having these tough conversations. I mean, I'm so sorry. And I just, my heart aches for you and your family. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you.
to watch that happen.
I know. And she was with this guy for a long time because I remember being 11 years old. She got out of work and told my mom she was going to take me to her house and I was going to have dinner with her. And I went and I was just sitting on the couch watching cartoons. And he was also an alcoholic, which usually I think goes in tandem sometimes, you know what I mean,
Right.
with these situations. And he came in, and I'm little. I don't know when somebody's drunk. What do I know?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I heard him say, "I smell a pig in this house."
Ugh.
And I didn't know what he meant. Like, I don't know. I was like, oh, I thought like maybe the food my sister was cooking, like pork. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then he walked in the kitchen and I heard gurgling. And I was like, what the heck? Like, it was like somebody choking. And I ran in and he was choking my sister against the refrigerator.
Oh my gosh.
And I took off and jumped on his back, like piggyback, and started jamming my fingers in his eyes.
Wow.
And I was screaming, "Get off my sister, get off my sister." Yeah. And then he just, turned and ran out of the house. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, like, I don't know why. I mean, look, I do know why. I mean, I have people come up to me when I tell the story about my sister and how I rescued her and all that stuff. They go, "But why didn't she ever leave?"
That was what I was getting. Yes. Oh, that question.
Like you're baking a pie. Like,
exactly.
Why didn't you? And I'm like, if you don't understand the psychology behind control, that's a big problem.
Absolutely. It is so
because
difficult.
it's like a prisoner of war. It's a psychological game that's played with you. And it's not that you're stupid or incapable or you don't understand. You do, but you don't know how to get out of it because they enrapture your mind
over time.
Right.
Yes.
And then you're petrified because you do believe if you leave and they find you, you'll be dead.
Right.
I mean, like this idiot told my sister, "You'll never leave this house unless you're in a pine box."
Wow.
And I never forget. And this is what I mean about sense of humor. I mean, I think if you don't have a sense of humor, you will definitely need therapy longer than I did. Okay. Because I had therapy half my life and it really helped me. And I had a great guy who to this day I can send an email to, even if I'm, doubting something and say, I think I'm going to pursue this way. And I just get validation from him. It's not like he's not telling me what to do, the things that women have to go through. I mean, my sister, she was one of the most amazing people ever, the heart of gold, and her life was ruined because of this animal.
Right.
And this guy, I'll never forget. The funniest thing was that she called me. It was like something happened, and then she called me 2 days later, and she said to me, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe this." She said, and I'm not going to use his name because I don't want to give him any power at all. But he fell. They had a basement, and he went down the stairs, and apparently he fell down the stairs. And she was upstairs watching TV, so she couldn't hear anything. And he fell down and hit his head. And he was bleeding from his eyes and his ears. And faintly, he was calling my sister. Now, she didn't hear him. And then finally, she's going to him, "Where are you?" Because it was like, I guess he was gone for so long. And she opened up the door to the basement and saw him laying on the floor in this blood.
Right.
So she goes, "I'll call the ambulance." And right away, see, Fagora, he goes, "No, don't do that. I don't want any of the neighbors to know that nobody's home." Why? What do you got, a gold mine?
Right.
What do you got? What are you hiding? Wait, I said this guy's got money in the walls. Where I know he's got money in the walls. Okay, right? So she had to drag him through the driveway, through the garage, and now she's trying to get him into the car. And she's, you're pushing a guy who's big and half, falling apart. And she inadvertently, hit his head while trying to get him in the car. And he starts cursing at her.
Oh my gosh.
"What the hell are you doing, you stupid?" And I go, "Angie, listen, I got to tell you something right now. Your first mistake was picking him up and trying to get him in the car. If it was me, I would have left him in the basement and just let him go off into space. Okay. I said, maybe if I had maybe because of you, the way you are, when you dragged him to that car and the minute he started yelling at you, when you hit his head, that's would have been it then. Okay, here, stay in the freaking car. I'm done with you. Bye-bye. Okay.
Oh
But that's a sense of humor. You use your sense of humor because you're like, you can't fathom the reality of what's happening.
It's another coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you see, to see these things and what she went through and how she was dragged across the floor by her hair and her kids were not allowed to. When he got home, he was drunk and he'd go to bed and they could use the bathroom, but they were not allowed to flush. And God forbid they woke him up.
Funny you say that because my son mentions that quite often, wanting to be quiet. And he's an adult, but he still feels the need to be quiet. And that includes flushing the toilet. It's unbelievable how ingrained this gets. And for the poor children involved, for the children who have to witness these things and feel so afraid and helpless and maybe even guilty. It is so unfair.
It's very unfair.
I see it in my kids and everything in me aches for them. I know it wasn't our fault, but as a mother, you want to protect your kids. You want to do anything you can to protect your kids, and sometimes that means staying. Sometimes that is safer, and that's scary. That's scary stuff, and that needs to change.
It has to change because staying is not the answer.
I know, and the system needs to protect us. They need to protect us and give us the opportunity to leave and feel safe.
But they don't. They don't. I mean, they do the old, you want a restraining order, and then he's looking at you like, go ahead, do it, I'll kill you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you're afraid that, oh my God, you can't, there has to be some mechanisms that are put in place to help women because, and then recently, didn't they say that if you were subject to domestic violence and if there was a restraining order that they were going to let the guy carry a gun? Are you serious now?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
And I was like, what?
It doesn't make any sense. And I just remember thinking, because I called lawyers for years, just, can you help me? I don't know what, can you please help me? Have the laws changed? And it was always the same. For 20 years, it was the same. And I thought to myself, how can I be going through this? This has to be illegal. And how come the laws are not evolving?
Right. Well, it's funny you said that because my sister obviously was much older than you and I. And the first time she did leave, my godmother helped her and, blah, blah, blah. And she went to an attorney. First time she got gumption. And guess what happened? It was back in the day when if you left your husband, it was considered desertion and you got nothing.
Oh, no.
So that really set her back. Because he continued to make her believe that's what was happening today.
Wow. And that's scary enough, right?
Right. You'll have nothing. Right. And she had two daughters. And these kids would call me crying from a closet.
Oh, my gosh.
Mimi, please, can you help me? And I'd go over there and I'd go right in the house and he'd walk in all drunk. And I would just push him right down a flight of stairs. Wow. Get out of my way. And go right and get my nieces and take them home with me.
Oh, wow.
But these two young ladies are sadly, one is going to therapy and the other one never even thought about it. And they need it.
Yeah.
They need it because they lived in the house of horrors and they saw all these things which has affected them as adults.
Absolutely.
So the younger one, and when I say younger, who's like 40 something, 47, she is just like the father. Of temper, yelling, banging, punching herself in the head, all crazy stuff. And the other one, the older one, is like my sister, which is good and bad. Because now you got to worry because she can fall for these idiots that are just manipulative. I can't say the word, but you know what I mean.
Yes. That's why educating these young people is so important. I remember I used to take my kids aside after things would happen and I would find a private place as soon as I could. And I would tell them, I know what you're seeing. You're seeing me. Take this. But I'm telling you, this isn't what love looks like. This is
Right.
unhealthy. This is wrong. And I don't ever want you to accept this. And I remember taking them in various places, a different room, in the car, in the yard, and just trying to impress upon them the fact that what they're seeing is wrong. And it's still, I was just doing my best in the situation I was in. But
Right.
what are you supposed to do when you have no options? And
that's my point.
And these children suffer, and they suffer well into probably their entire lives.
Absolutely.
The partners, whoever the survivor or victim is, I mean, I have PTSD for the rest of my life.
Exactly. So does my niece. Yeah.
It's horrifying and so sad. It's just simply wrong. I'm so sorry for them. And I think
I am too. This might sound very horrible, but it's very Italian. I know that this man is still alive, and I know he's in his, let me see, he's probably 80 years old right now. And my sister passed 3 years ago. This is not like something that happened 10 years, you know. He apparently has come down with Parkinson's, and then I think he fell and got a stroke. And people are like, damn, he's still alive? And I'm like, this guy's like a cockroach, okay? You cannot take this guy out, okay? But
oh my gosh.
The way I look at it is, and this is the horrible thing, but this is the Italian in me, okay? This is like a picture, an old Italian lady standing on a hill in Italy saying, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, okay? I want you to go into the nursing home, and I want you to stay, and I want you to do poop in your pants, and I want the lady to come in and say, hey, you miserable, nasty piece of shit, I'm not touching you, lay in it, okay? That's what I want for him for the rest of his life, okay? Just to be miserable.
Right. Oh
And I know
gosh.
that sounds so ungodly and it's so not right, but if you saw what he did to my sister, I mean, you know, when I rescued her and I got her out of her house and I saw her turn the corner like baby first steps, like shuffling, and I'm like, oh my God. And I grabbed her and she started crying. And then what he would do, he was very manipulative, as they all are, you know. Yeah. They're manipulative. They know how to do it. The cops were there and he saw me holding my sister. So right away, he's got to get his word in to let her know. And he's going, hey, Angie. See what I mean? To get sway her mind. And I put my hands, I put my hands over her ears and I said, look in my eyes. I'm here. And at that time, the rest of my family was deceased except for one sibling. And I said, mommy's with me. Daddy's with me. Brother's with me. We're here to help you. You're going to come with me and nothing's going to happen. Don't listen to anything.
Wow. That's incredible.
And the cops let me put her in my own car. And when we went to the station, she went into the bathroom and I was helping her to get, because she was so weak. And I looked at her arm and I take her shirt and I go, what happened? Her entire arm was black and blue.
Wow.
And this poor woman had 4 concussions. Oh. And she had an aneurysm in her head, which he knew. And she's crying and she lifts up her bangs and she goes, Mayor, look at my head. And it's all black and blue. And I go, what happened? She goes, every night he would take his belt buckle off and keep hitting me in the head because he would know he was trying to kill her. Oh. He wanted, because he sold the house and he wanted everything to himself. No. And he figured if he can make those aneurysms get swollen enough to pop, she would go. And then on her sides, he was stabbing her with a knife here. And oh my, it was like the worst. I can't even describe to you what I don't know. I mean, the only thing I kept doing was I found pictures of my family that wasn't here. And I kept saying, look, mommy's here, daddy's, and showing her the pictures. Okay. Because then it was during COVID. And she had to appear before the judge on a Zoom call. And they wouldn't let me go in because they thought that I would influence her. Oh, give me a friggin' break. You know, look at her. Yeah. Look at her. All right.
Do you really need to?
I mean,
isn't that rotten?
So, yes.
Let's take away her support.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So she go, and all I did was, before she went in, I said, look. Mommy, here's daddy, and here's brother. And we're here. Your kids are on your way. Come on. And she walked out, and the officer came over to me, and he said, the restraining order is done. The judge started to cry.
Wow.
when he saw her arms, and he said, "Young lady, go live your life."
Wow.
And from then on, it was sad because she made it a year with all the things that he did to her, how it affected her body. I mean, I don't know how she was able to pull it off, but she was a strong woman. And to just see her decline like that because of this animal. I mean, the day we had her funeral, I called the police station and I said, I want cops around this church.
Yeah.
Because if this man comes in, someone is going to do something very bad, and it probably would have been me.
Yeah. Help me.
Yeah, exactly.
When
Because
can
I don't want to go to jail.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's just, and again, I go back to today and look where women are today. They're trying to push us back further. So now we're dealing with, the Pete Hegseth doesn't want women to vote anymore. This one doesn't want women to this. This one, I mean, and what about abused women? That's not going to matter.
Right.
They're going to say you're supposed to sit there and be submissive and be slapped around. No.
Yeah, and we need to figure out a way to be heard. We need to work together and figure out a way where they're going to listen.
I mean, I think every state should form a chapter. And it could be, it's not just only women who are abused, but every type of abuse. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe you need to start this charge, Melissa.
Maybe
okay?
I do.
I'm anointing you. Okay. I think, and maybe it's something we can do where you start in your state and then you find another woman in another state, and you build up these charters of women.
Yes.
That then, you have enough women to be representative of all these issues. And then people listen to you. People listen to a crowd. People don't listen to one person.
Yes, exactly. And how do we get there? And that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Well, you know how you do it? You got to sit there and you got to say to yourself, this happened to me. I don't want it to happen to anyone that I love, anyone that I know. I want to change. I want to change things. I want to change the world. And the more you get people in your charters, the more you will be enlightened by them.
And it's empowering and it's motivating.
Absolutely. To mobilize the whole thing. It's totally motivating.
Yeah. I think it's a snowball effect. And when you get people together, they feel safer.
Absolutely. Then you go big time. Then you get a 501 nonprofit, and then you start raising money. And
it's smart,
I know
it sounds wonderful.
Far, I know. I mean, it sounds like, well, my God, this is exhausting already. Okay.
No.
But if you think about it, the more time you put in, magic happens. Magic happens.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And it
and
happens.
If you believe it.
Right. And it moves you to work harder without it
Absolutely.
feeling like you're working for nothing. No. You're working for something. You are accomplishing things, whether it's one person hearing it and changing one person's life, or helping children learn so that they don't experience these things, so they know what it looks like to be abused and the different forms.
I always wanted to, I would love to be involved in a scenario like that, and have gala events where you're raising money and be a keynote speaker and get up there and have other keynote speakers, and not make it be a night of like, oh my God, but you have to do that. It has to be shocking.
Right. And it is.
Because it is shocking, but people, some people don't believe that. You have the little misses of the world where everything is perfect. And they got their Louis Vuitton, and they got their this, and they got their that. And that's all they care about, the little Kardashians. But sit them in the room and show them and tell them the reality of abuse.
Absolutely.
For women, or just for them not being able to vote, or being able to this. And pretty soon it's the Handmaid's Tale. That's what it is.
Exactly. And what's that purse worth to you? When you're seeing people, I left things. I didn't care about anything. I didn't want anything.
Right.
I just wanted out. And I had to wait until my children were grown enough where they had a voice in their own schedule. And that was it. Wow. Honestly, things still don't matter to me. One thing my dad said to me before he died, and they helped me get out by providing a down payment on a townhome for me. But my dad said through the loudspeaker on the phone, he said, "It's only money." And I never forgot that. And it was just probably the last thing I heard him say out loud. And it stuck with me for now it's 6 years. I mean, money doesn't make you happy. Life is so much more important than how much money you have or the things you have. And I've had things
Exactly.
I wasn't happy with things.
And think about it. Somebody on their deathbed never asks for more money. They ask for more time.
Right. That's what it's all about.
And, you know, we all have to put the time in to help every woman, whether it's battered women, whether it's gay women. I mean, they go through this battered stuff, believe it or not.
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, it's rampant. It's all about control and manipulation.
Right. And what about just accepting people? Just accepting people as they are. We've talked about that, you and I.
Right. And
not judging each other and being there for each other. And people feel that. And there's a power in that.
Exactly. Look, people are people. You can't walk around and judge somebody for being, oh, she's Catholic or she's Jewish or she's this or she's gay or she's that. Who cares?
Exactly. That's what when you and I talked about your musical comedy, a lesbian, a divorcee, and a married woman walk into a bar. We talked a lot about that. And that was just such incredible timing for me, because when I was looking into what it means to be a woman and when I was speaking about that, I had never thought about that before. And I'm almost 50 years old, and it never occurred to me. You don't think about that when you're living in an abusive relationship. You're not looking up women's rights. It's not something that you feel comfortable doing. But when you said that to me, just about accepting us for who we are, and come on, women, let's go, you know?
Right. And that's why I feel this play I mean, the demographics reach out to so many different, you know, to lesbian women, to women that are now divorced with children, to women that are married. There's so many demographics, right? And every one of them has their own story. Exactly. Whether it's the good, the bad, or the ugly, it doesn't matter.
And sometimes you don't know their story.
Right. But to turn around and to take these stories and write these characters, you know, based on, okay, here's the girl who was divorced, and now it's challenging because she has a child, and her child has ADHD, and she's in you know, she doesn't have a real full-time job. She's back in being an actor and a comic and you know, all that again. And then you go out into the world and you're trying to find the love of your life, and you meet these people that are just manipulative idiots, and they just want to have sex with you and never call you back.
Yeah. How do you trust? How do you know?
Right. You don't. I have a lot of friends of mine that are just, what's I always say? It's this magical, mystical thing about love. And believe me, I am the biggest romantic fool of all times. However, I'm not stupid. Okay. So the thing is, they get all involved with this guy in like one day.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you doing this? You don't know this person. And then when they don't text them, they're like, oh my God, they didn't text. Well, no, of course they didn't text. Did you expect you really wanted them to text you back? You got to be kidding me. All right.
How awful.
You know, it is.
Yeah.
You know, and then you get the married people that are like, they're in a relationship and they're going through the motions, and you don't know if they're happy or not. Exactly. Are they settling? Are they staying because of the kids? Maybe there's no abuse at all, but maybe they married young, and maybe they outgrew their partner. That happens.
And and that's okay. We need to give people permission to change their minds and try to be happy.
But people have to feel empowered enough to make changes in anything that's going on in their life.
That's true.
The worst thing to do is to be frightened, because if you're frightened, you will never move.
Exactly. There's so many what ifs. You could drive yourself crazy with the what ifs.
Right. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget my therapist years ago when I walked away from my 6-figure position. And I told you, you know, it was rough at times, and finances were really bad. And he said to me, I love this guy, if you continue to worry about your finances, nothing else is going to walk through your door. Nothing. It's just this angst over the finances. He said, this is what you have to do. You have to believe. It was almost like a little bit of like The Secret, but not. It was like, you have to believe in who you are and what you are, and know that God is not going to let you down in the 11th hour. He said, it's really hard, but you have to live like you're in abundance right now. And I did it. And I had friends that would come around and they'd be like, oh, I can't, I don't want to. And I go, listen, I live in abundance. I don't want to hear don't give me I don't want to hear this stuff now, because then they take you on their journey.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I didn't pay the ticket to get on this bus.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, come on, you know?
Right.
So, you got to go with that. And then it was all about, talking out loud to yourself. And I still do it today.
Absolutely.
And I do it mostly when I'm blow drying my hair, because I'm looking in the mirror.
Oh, that's
right?
great. That's great.
And you see yourself. So when you see yourself, like sometimes psychologically in your mind, you're thinking about things when you're doing your hair, but you're not talking.
Right.
And all of a sudden out loud, I'll hear myself, Maryann, get the committee out of your head right now. Okay. Because it's true. You can talk yourself into anything, good or bad.
Absolutely. Self-talk, positive self-talk. My therapist as well.
Totally.
And it helps me. And I've talked with multiple people who say they use it and it works. It works. It works. I do it every day. It helps calm me down when I'm having a lot of anxiety.
Yep.
It helps me feel more confident. It helps me deal with adjustments. I 100% agree with you. It's incredible. Right. Such a good idea.
It really does. It's a part of my life. It's everything I do. I'm a crystal person. I have crystals next to my bed so I can keep the energy going there. I mean, some people think it's foo-foo, wah-wah, but you know what? If it makes you happy, that's, it's the old Sheryl Crow song. If it makes you happy, that's all that matters, right?
Yes, I did the same thing. I was so miserable going through, especially in the beginning of my PTSD treatment. And I was miserable, and I was just anything to help me. I'll do anything, give me options, give me choices. And I had a crystal store open right by my house, and I was like, why not? Why not try it? What do I have to lose? I have two as well. I have two of them in my house. I used to fidget with them all the time. And I think there's something there.
I do too.
Yeah.
Sometimes at night, like when I get in bed and I want to meditate a little bit, I take the crystals, or if I have a headache or something, I'll take the quartz and I'll put it on my forehead. Yeah. And I don't know. Look, whatever you believe in, you make it work.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
You can control the magic to everything you believe in. That's how it works. Because if you don't believe in it, it's never going to happen.
Exactly. And why not try? Like my therapist always tells me this too. What do you have to lose?
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Right.
And it's like, it's funny because now when I get on stage, two things happen. I have people come up to me at the end of the show. Several times I had an older woman with her daughter who was clearly a lesbian and she was going to get married, and said to me, and she was crying, and she said to me, I just want to let you know, this is my daughter. She's gay and she's getting married. And I was like, oh, great. Congratulations. And she said, I gave her such a hard time when she came out. I was terrible. She said, and when you walked out on stage tonight and said you were gay, I put my arms around her and told her how sorry I was.
That's incredible.
And that made me feel amazing. And when I get out on stage, I don't really give a shit. Excuse my language, but I am fearless. I am aggressive. I am assertive. And you know what? That's what I want every woman to be. Take control, take charge. You're not being mean to anybody, but you know what? I'm up there, and like if you're a guy thinking you're going to say something back to me, to be a wise guy, you're going to think about it twice, because it's not going to be pretty. Okay.
But that's what women need to take, and they need to take that fearlessness, and even if they get just a small percentage of that from you, that's incredible for you. I mean, the feeling you must get from that, even that conversation, yes, and that moves you to keep going. Yeah,
totally.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing everything, Maryann. This has really been just fun. It's been incredibly educational, and I think honest and raw and vulnerable. And I just really appreciate you coming on and sharing. It's tough stuff to talk about these things.
You're right. And I want to thank you. And you know what? you have to be vulnerable and you have to be raw, because if you don't, then you're just hiding behind a mask of what everybody else looks like in the rest of the world.
Yeah. And you gotta take the mask off and you'll
That's
feel
right.
better.
Yep. And you know what? As soon as you start making these chapters work, you let me know, and I will be
Yes.
your keynote speaker. Okay.
I love it. No, I love it. I think it's much
Okay,
needed.
sweetie.
Thank you, Maryann. I just want to remind everybody, your off-Broadway musical comedy, A Lesbian, a Divorcee, and a Married Woman Walk into a Bar, premieres September 20th at the Triad Theater in New York City, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an interactive musical comedy. I'm really excited. Congratulations.
Thank you, honey.
I appreciate everything you do and your time today.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you. And I'm so glad that you got up and left. You're welcome,
Thank you so
honey.
much. Thank you.
Be well, sweetheart.